Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to play Xbox Game Pass games on your Steam Deck. This will be using the Game Pass streaming service, so keep in mind that your internet connection will affect the performance here, and you do need a Game Pass Ultimate subscription for this to work. There's also a written guide for this on the Microsoft website, which I will link in the description. Now, I've done a couple of other guides on this channel that I say tend to be easier with a mouse and keyboard, but that it's doable with Steam Deck controls. But this guide I actually think is much harder to do with Steam Deck controls. There's a bit of precision copy and pasting that you need to do, so I'd recommend a mouse and keyboard to set this up if at all possible. So let's get started. If you're in game mode, then the very first thing we need to do is go into desktop mode, and once you're there, go to the Discover Software Center, search for Microsoft Edge and set that installing. Don't worry about opening it up once it's finished. We don't need to use Edge in the desktop mode, and I'd actually advise against it because it starts to ask you for encryption and security keys, and that can sort of get confusing, so just leave it closed for now. Once that's installed, we need to enable Edge to have access to the Steam Deck controls, and to do this we have to make a change in the console. So go back into your desktop, go to your application launcher and search for Konsole, spelled with a K. In the description below there is a flatpak command that you need to copy and paste that into Konsole. This command is also in the Microsoft link just in case you want to go directly to the source. Once you've copied it, paste it in and hit enter and then close the console. The next step is to add Edge to Steam, and we do that as a non-Steam game. So on your desktop, open Steam, go into the library, and at the bottom left choose Add Game and Add Non-Steam Game, and then scroll down the list and select Microsoft Edge. So once Edge is there as an option within Steam, click on it and select the gear icon. This next step is optional, but since we're going to make Edge open to Xbox Cloud Gaming by default, I like to rename it so that I know what it's going to do. So I rename it to something like Xbox Cloud Gaming, but that's up to you, you don't have to do that. So now we need to change the launch options for Edge. This will make it launch straight to the streaming website, and it will change the scaling of the window, makes it full screen and makes it fit nicely on the Steam Deck. There's a line in the description of the video that I will label launch options, and it starts with --window--size. Copy that line of text all the way across, including the web address. Once you've copied that, go back into the launch options. We're going to paste it there, but at this point I found that there's a few conflicting guides on where exactly you need to paste this text. Some YouTube videos that I've seen say you need to place it before all of the @ symbols. The Microsoft website though says to place it after these @ symbols, but their guide doesn't have the quotation marks around that part of the text. So the first time I tried, I put it between the @ symbols, and since then I've tried just pasting this text at the end, and both of these work fine, so I'm just going to put it at the end. The only thing I did was I made sure I just left one space after the last quote mark, and then I pasted the rest of the launch command. So that's the last thing we need to do in desktop mode, so we can close everything down and now return to game mode. There's one final thing that I change in game mode before we launch, and that is just in the Steam controls. I like to make sure that the right trackpad works as a mouse trackpad, so I set that to gamepad with mouse trackpad, and that when you click in the right trackpad, that is set to left mouse click. That's just there just in case. And then change any of the back buttons to a random letter. So in this case I've picked L4 I think, and I changed that to the letter X, and I'll explain why in a minute. So now we're ready to launch. If everything is set up in the same way as the video, then this will take us straight to the Xbox Cloud Gaming webpage, and it'll be full screen and everything will fit on there nicely. If this is your first time, it will ask you to log into your Microsoft account or your Xbox account, and I did run into a little bit of a problem with this step, and that's because I used an authenticator. Whenever I tried to authenticate, the box immediately said that there was no response. Now I did fix this with a restart, so it's not too bad, but I just wanted to bring it up in case it happened to you. One final thing, once you're logged in, go to the Xbox button in the top left of the window and go down to settings, then go to input, and at the bottom there is a keyboard shortcut to open the guide or interact with notifications. Now set this to the same key binding that we used earlier for the back button. Once you've done this, it will allow you to open the Xbox Cloud guide with your back button, which is how you close out of a game once you've finished playing it. One more thing that I did have some trouble with when I was testing this, first time round the controls worked fine in the cloud streaming page, but then didn't work when I first went into a game. I did a full restart, and while I was in the middle of restarting, realized that I still had my Bluetooth mouse and keyboard connected, so I also switched those off just to be safe. And when I got back in, it worked absolutely fine. So you can see here I am trying out the new Indiana Jones game, and I'm getting a pretty decent mix of visuals and performance. From time to time, you do notice a tiny bit of input delay. So I did the tutorial mission for the new Black Ops, for example, and as a first-person shooter, that seems to be where you might notice it the most, but I felt like I got used to this over time. Since we're streaming, this does rely on your internet connection. Microsoft have made some decent improvements over the last couple of years to this service, so it was only occasionally that I noticed that sort of loss of the visuals. It kind of went a little bit blurry and grainy as the connection caught back up again, but on the whole I think it works pretty well, so give this a go if you're curious. I hope you found this video useful and you enjoy many Xbox games on your Steam Deck. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.